I ran that morning, as I did on most mornings, with a bunch of guys from our 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, the U.S. Army's only Special Ops aviation unit that handles high-risk missions. Once we were outside the Task Force Ranger compound, a fenced-in area of battered old hangars, mobile barracks trailers, and sandbag emplacements, the airfield seemed to host a convention of international troops. The Russian pilots who flew relief missions for the UN were all out-of-shape vodka drinkers who grinned and waved as we passed, looking us over as if relieved that the Cold War had never gone hot. The Italian carabinieri lounged back in their easy chairs and smirked from beneath their sunglasses, while the French paratroopers raised their noses as if we personally had desecrated Paris with McDonald's franchises. Already the sun was hard and slicing through the morning haze, a humid, steady breeze coming in off the nearby Indian Ocean. One thing for sure, I was going to go home in great physical condition and with a suntan to envy. I was hoping to run the Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C., as I'd done the year before. My wife had come up to watch that one and brought along our baby boy Joey. I had swelled with pride when I crossed the finish line, even though it took me days to recover. This year, chances were slim that I'd make the race, that we'd be out of the Moog, our nickname for Mogadishu, but I wanted to be ready for it just in case. There was another purpose for PT, of course, to stay physically tuned up and ready. You might be doing nothing for hours or even days, and then all of a sudden you'd be jumping through your ass to go out and fly a mission. After my run and a quick shower, I pulled on my desert flight coveralls and settled down in the shade of a small tree just outside the crumbling building that held the Joint Operations Center. As flight lead and a standardization instructor pilot, I was planning an aerial gunnery training mission for the next day. Somewhat like the old squadron leaders of earlier air-powered days, I was responsible for keeping my element razor sharp. That consisted of 4 Blackhawk assault helicopters, escorted by 1 search and rescue bird and 2 AH-6 Little Bird gunships. Under the right conditions, the Blackhawk was capable of speeds up to 193 knots, but with our load of 18 Rangers and 4 crewmen on board, the best we could do was about 160. For gunnery practice, we'd be going out to a remote area, set out some old tires as targets, and practice running fire, honing those skills that can deteriorate even in combat conditions. We were finalizing our plan for tomorrow when I caught the flash of a human form rushing by and heard the slap of boot soles and an urgent warning. Possible mission developing downtown. I raised my chin, and I think it was the first time that I really smelled Somalia. The heavy stench of fetid garbage, mixed with the nostril-flaring fumes of JP-4 jet fuel. We were right on the ocean, the wind usually blowing from the southwest, carrying the brine of the sea. Coffee was constantly brewing in the Joint Operations Center, and it blended with the cold concoctions from the mess hall, floating above a thin layer of urine and feces fog from the porta-potties. There were no sewage facilities, so shower water puddled on the ground, stagnating in the sun. Our task force members were fitness freaks, so few of them smoked, but most chewed tobacco of some kind, and the compound was stained with stinking clots of brown juice, like puddles of blood after a pitched battle. I didn't smoke or chew or drink, but I did have a bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey stowed in my rucksack to be swigged in celebration when we finally captured Mohammed Adeed. I didn't know then that I'd never get a chance to crack it open. Inside the Joint Operations Center, Brigadier General Bill Garrison paced as the leaders of his cells assembled. He was a man who engendered great respect, and he looked like something out of a Hollywood movie, with his bristle-steel hair, pilot's Ray-Bans, and a cigar that he rarely lit clenched in his teeth. Element leaders hustled in from volleyball, their bunks, or the latrine. Cliff Walcott was there, a 160th Chief Warrant Officer like me, and flight lead of the assault force. I represented the blocking force of 4 Blackhawks assigned to carry a company of Rangers who were commanded by Captain Mike Steele. My own 160th Battalion commander was there too, Lieutenant Colonel Tom Matthews. The mission was profiled as a snatch and grab, and the point men of the assault would be the special operators. They weren't just special forces, they were Delta, and there is no other military unit in the world as highly trained and with an attitude to match. The mission profile wasn't new. It was like a well-rehearsed ballet of zipping helos and lightning infantry. First, Little Bird gunships would take out any heavy weapons at the target. Next, Cliff Walcott's